Well, I got to tell you, my name is Chris Wells, and I love Jesus, and I'm glad to be here with you. And I see that there are about at least 2 cameras that I see now. A number of years ago, I had a little fishing show on the Fox Sports Network called the Fishers of Men. And when the first episode aired, I told my wife, we all sat down to watch it, and I said, now you understand that the camera adds about 10 pounds there. She said, well, they must have at least 4 cameras on you then, so it was a pretty bad deal with that. But I got to tell you, when I walked into this church, I could feel the Spirit of God here, and I have just already found a home. I love it. Now, there's a couple of things I need to warn you about. Number 1, I am the fastest speaking South Carolinian that you'll ever see in your life. You're going to have to listen very quickly today, all right? That's the deal. Number 2 is this. I'm the only white preacher in America that can out-sweat Dr. T.D. Jakes, okay? So I'm going to be sweating in just a few minutes. I'm going to be doing that, so that's going to be the deal. But I grew up in a Christian home. Now, I want to clarify that right off the bat. I did not grow up in a Christian orphanage, okay? My family raised me to be a Christian. I went to church every time the doors were open. As a matter of fact, I tell people I had a drug problem. My parents drugged me to church every time it was open. I was there even in my mother's womb. But I grew up in church. My dad taught me in Sunday school, and I really thought I was a Christian for 2 reasons. Number 1, I believed in God. Number 2, I had come down a church aisle and taken a pastor by the hand, and they had dunked me in a pool. But nothing had ever changed in my life, okay? And I just lived my life for me. Now, my freshman year of college, I rushed the largest fraternity at my college. I went there, and I'm not going to tell you every sin I committed, but just suffice it to say, I tried to do them all. And every weekend was a party, and every single day, I just lived my life for me. Well, my sophomore year, I went to a Halloween party, all right, at the fraternity house. I went dressed as the movie character that Tom Cruise played in the movie Top Gun. Do you remember that? And I know what you're thinking. Now, I used to have a 6-pack. Now I got a 2-liter. But here's the deal. That night, I got really, really low. And I remember reaching for the phone to call a friend, and I realized for the first time in my life that I didn't really have a friend. That a lot of people knew my name, but I didn't really have a friend. And that night, I laid under a pecan tree. You may call it a pecan tree. It's a pecan tree where I came from. And I said, Jesus, if you'll forgive my sins and you'll come into my life, I'll follow you with my heart. Would you give my life a purpose? And I got to tell you something. I can't prove it here to you today. But Jesus Christ changed my very being.